A common question I've gotten since getting my hair transplant is, why did I choose Turkey? Why did I choose the Ashley Tarshan Hair Clinic? And essentially, is that something that I recommend for anybody else? As I mentioned before, I wanted to answer that question in its own separate video. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to the channel, I am Rio. So as you can see, I'm gonna be talking about my decision to choose Turkey and what ultimately made me come to this decision. Now, before we hop into the ins and outs about why and everything, as some of you know, I like to take a step back and kind of address some of the reoccurring questions I've seen. But more importantly, I wanna address just, I guess, a mindset of people. I made this video up here talking about my experience at the clinic. I really just went through day by day from the beginning pretty much to the end and just kind of expressing some of the things I went through and talked about some of the things that I didn't really like too much. Let me start by saying this. Now, the feedback ultimately has been extremely positive. However, with good, you get bad, and that's just the way the world works. I've seen a lot of comments, and it's gotten to a point where I've got tired of seeing people say things like this. All I do is complain, or I'm and I'm this kind of person, I'm that kind of person. I don't really think I can please every single person in the world, but at the end of the day, I know who I am. The people that are around me in my personal life know who I am. And there's some people that's been following me on this platform for years that I feel like have at least a better understanding of who I am as a person. But for those of you who don't know me and you listen to me talk about a situation and you think you know me, now if you're watching this video, let me kind of give you a little better insight about the kind of person that I am. I'm laid back, I'm calm, I'm rational, I'm easygoing. Those things may not mean much to you because it's me telling you that. What reason do you have to believe me, right? I'm also very honest and transparent. And I'm a human being, so I'm not perfect, so I do have some shortcomings like we all do. I went to this clinic and that was my choice. And I'm gonna talk about what made me decide to do that. I went there to get my hair transplant, of course. However, what I did not expect is to be met with dishonesty and a lack of integrity and simply a low moral compass by some individuals. There's no way you really can know that that's going to happen. And by me explaining that and expressing that, I have seen some others make comments about basically having the same kind of experience. The only difference is that I have a platform to really share it. Some others don't. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'm going to make this pretty quick. If you're somebody who was able to listen to me talk about what happened when I was in Turkey, and you felt that all I was doing was and complaining, it comes across that you are seemingly someone who is okay with manipulation and lies and deception. And I think that says more about you than it does about me. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Another thing I want to address, because I saw this on one of my last videos, I think it was a 4.5 month haircut update. Someone said something to the effect, and I'm gonna paraphrase, but they said something like, all the complaining I did about Ashley Tarshan, and they actually did a good job for me. Let's break down the company. The people who I complained about were not the people that performed the procedure. I complained about the approach. I complained about the manipulation. I complained about the lies. I felt it was justified for me to share that experience and tell you what happened. Ultimately, if you're gonna do this, you can be prepared. I wasn't prepared for what I was walking into when it came to that behavior of those people. The procedure itself was performed by hair technicians. The hair technicians aren't doctors. Fred, the person who I had the consultation with, the guy who I didn't care for too much, I don't believe he's a doctor. I don't think anyone who you really interact with or perform the procedure are doctors. I could be wrong, but I'm not. There was nothing that really led me to believe that they had a medical license. But let me say this, the choice to go to, I guess, any clinic in Turkey, it can be very tricky because especially at Ashley Tarshan, at this clinic, you never know who's going to perform your procedure. You don't know which hair technician is going to perform your procedure. Although you say they did a good job for me, the hair technicians that I had did the good job. I don't think Fred did a good job because he was a straight up asshole. Like that's just how I feel. And that was the experience I had with him. He lied, he manipulated. I don't see him as a good person. And it's not to say that the culture of Turkey aren't good people. No matter where you go, you're gonna have good people, you're gonna have bad people. I just felt like he's the kind of person who will tell you anything to get what he wants out of a situation. And I didn't like that. The hair technicians that worked on me, they were great. I honestly have no complaints. I have nothing bad to say about the hair technicians that worked on me. So I wanna make that very, very clear. The only thing that I can say was a little uncomfortable is when they were harvesting the grass. I had two ladies working on me, two hair technicians. Some of the positions that they put me in to get a good angle to take those grafts, it wasn't really that comfortable. I remember laying there, you know, on my stomach and my head was turned this way. And one of the ladies was like, she was kind of pushing down while she was getting a graft, and my neck is kind of turned this way, my head is into the table, and I'm like, man, is she almost done? And like she was pressing against me in a way that like I couldn't really breathe that well. But that was the only thing that I was like, man, is she done? Aside from that, things went well. I really didn't talk too much about the actual procedure. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember it because I was asleep. I believe I took about 5 to 6 hours. I was probably asleep for the majority of it. I was really that tired from just all the travel. I was awake for the full harvesting of the donor hair. I was awake when the technician was creating the channels to place the grafts into. I could pick up that she spoke some English, so I asked her things like, you know, if she liked her job. I asked her things like, you know, how long she's been doing it. She told me, I think it was like 10 years or so. She worked at a few different hair clinics. So like I was engaging, you know, with her, just chit chatting a little bit. And at that time, I believe she was the only one in there at the moment to create those channels. And then eventually I fell asleep, of course, and then someone else came in to do all the graft placements. All of that went seemingly. That was because those ladies did their jobs properly, and I believe they did their job well. You don't know who you're gonna get, and that's the unfortunate part of it. In the clinic, they're gonna tell you that everyone is fully trained, everyone is top notch, everyone's the best, but that may not be true. And I just want everybody to know and understand that. You never know if somebody may have had a bad day. You never know if somebody might be in a bad mood. You don't know if somebody may even hate their job and they want to quit. You never know what's going on, and that can lead to something bad. Now that that's out of the way, why did I go to Turkey? This is a decision that has so many different factors in it. As some of you know, that this hair transplant that I received over in Turkey, it was my second hair transplant. My first hair transplant was done in 2015. I made an entire video pretty much about that journey. So if you want to learn more about that, I would check that out. It's called My Hair Transplant Journey. I'll put it right up here, and I'll also link it down below in the description section. But that first hair transplant was done at Bosley. I received an FUT. Again, you can learn more about that in that video. After receiving that hair transplant, I think I received around 1,400 grafts, and I had some pretty good results. But I always knew that I would want to get another one because my hairline really wasn't as low as I wanted it to. Bosley did what they could do with 1,400 grafts. And honestly, I had amazing results with 1,400 grafts. In 2018, I made a decision that I was going to get another hair transplant. My second hair transplant was supposed to be done with Bosley. I had all the communications with them and, you know, the different back and forth about the different price packages and what we could do. I wanted to do it back in 2018. However, with a lot of different life things that I had going on with my family, my dad got sick, things were just going on, and I had to take a step back from that plan and cater to some other things financially. So I couldn't make that commitment to get the hair transplant at that time. So I decided to put it on the back burner. I started that conversation back up about a year later, and we're at the end of 2019, and I'm trying to essentially get that ball back rolling with Bosley. Of course, you guys know, I have this platform, I have this YouTube channel, and my channel is mainly a fashion and lifestyle channel. I do style videos, I do fashion videos, and I share aspects of my life, so it's that lifestyle. This channel is not about hair transplants, it's not even about hair restoration. I'm embarking this journey and I want to share it, and that's more so wanting me to share something I'm doing that can hopefully help out other people. That was a mindset that I had at that time, so I approached Bosley with an idea of us possibly working together. I had seen Bosley have these different campaigns with creators and they're sponsoring videos, and these creators that they were using to sponsor the content weren't actual hair transplant patients. So I approached them with basically saying, like, I received a hair transplant by you guys, I have this platform, maybe we can do something together. That communication I had went directly to the clinic that I have here locally. We had a couple back and forth emails, and the goal was to work towards figuring something out together. And of course, 2020 happened. We know the pandemic and everything. Nothing came out of it, unfortunately. They really didn't respond or push the envelope with a collaboration. It ended up being on the back burner. And of course, we all know what 2020 was, so it's something I ended up putting on the back burner as well. I was going through these ups and downs with my hair, and again, the hair transplant journey video really covers all of this. But I was going through these ups and downs, and in the beginning of the year, this year 2021, which is almost over, but in the beginning of the year, I was wanting to kind of start looking again at this hair transplant idea. Someone told me about going to Turkey to do it, the affordability, because going to Bosley for the second one, when I reached back out in 2018, they quoted me I think it was like 7,000 to 8,000. I think they wanted to do 1,700 grafts, if I'm not mistaken. So it would have been more grafts than I received from my first transplant, but I also knew that I did want to try to do a little bit more grafts. Of course, that would have been more money, which is why I was trying to work something together so we can collaborate. So, you know, I'd be helping them, they'd be helping me. It just didn't work out. When I heard about this turkey idea, I started doing a little more research on it. I heard about the clinic, Ashley Tarkin. I'm not entirely sure how to say it, so I'll probably keep butchering it. As I mentioned in past videos, I'm the kind of person that research really everything. It didn't really sound appealing to me because I've never been of the mindset of traveling out of the country to get a medical procedure. I know it's something that people do, but I am an analyzer, analyze risk and outcome and things like that. I wanted to try to make sure that this was going to make sense for me, so I researched it. I knew where I was with my hair and I knew what the goals I wanted to accomplish were. I think a big part of that was understanding the rough graft count that I wanted to have transplanted. Bosley wanted to do somewhere around 1,700, but I knew realistically to achieve the kind of density that I wanted to be somewhere around 2,200, or at least between 2,000 and 2,500. I knew that would be more of a realistic goal for me to achieve what I wanted. When I heard about the clinic, I decided to just do more research, and of course looking on YouTube is a part of that research. This is something I want to do because I wanted to do this from the beginning, but I wanted to make sure I was doing this and the videos actually made sense for me to do it. I came across a lot of guys who actually went to Turkey and got their hair transplants, and they were actually sharing their journey month to month, the results that they're getting, certain things that they're trying for growth and things like that. I wanted to shed light on a lot of the guys that I actually watched because it basically instilled the confidence for me to do something I had never done before and basically take that risk, because at the end of the day, this really was a risk. It's a risk you have to be willing to take, and I want to make sure I give these guys their due diligence before I go into more detail about what my goals were and what I learned to ultimately convey that travel decision. These are in no particular order, but I want to give these guys a shout out because again, they did help me. First and foremost, I think he's probably the first guy that I actually came across, and this is Good Life Joe. Some of you may actually know who Good Life Joe is. Some of you guys may watch his content, and some of you guys may actually watch a lot of these people on this list already, or have seen some of their content or videos in the past. But if you aren't familiar, if you aren't aware, I would definitely look these guys up. I'm actually gonna be linking every single one of these guys down below in the description section. Check them out, follow their journey. Some of these guys are already done with their journey, some guys are on their journeys now. So follow them, be a sponge, soak it all up, soak up as much information as you can, because I'm not the only person that's actually now sharing stuff. There's been people who've done it in the past. So again, Good Life Joe. If I'm correct on this, I think he's on his he's received 3 transplants, and every single one of them have been an FUE. The first transplant that Good Life Joe did was in the States. And then his second transplant was in Ashley Tarkin. That's around the time that I found him. And I believe he was only maybe like 5 months or so, 4 or 5 months so into his second hair transplant. He's recently gone back a couple months ago and got his 3rd hair transplant. I think he's on like month 2 or 3, early into that new journey that he's on, so feel free to check him out. Again, he's linked down below. The second one I have on this list is Just Sean. He is on, I think, month 7 or 8, somewhere around there. This is probably one of the funniest guys. It's super entertaining watching his videos, and he has a lot of information as well, so definitely check him out. There's a video where he talked about during his transplant that things really didn't go as well. I think he ended up having like a panic attack or something like that, which definitely can happen, which I think he said came down to the caffeine that was in the system when he got the anesthesia. I guess they didn't mix, which he ended up having a panic attack. He'll be able to tell you better than I can. Check him out down below. Check out that video as well. The third person I have on this list, again, no particular order, is Steve M. And he is on, I believe, month 7. And now, of course, all of these are at the time of filming this video, so you know, they will be at different times or be done, you know, if you see this video at a later date. Now, this guy is probably one of the more consistent people with posting updates and things like that. The guy's out there living his life, he's having fun, and he's sharing, you know, his updates as consistent as he possibly can, which I think is very helpful. So feel free to check him out. Again, he's linked down below. The next person on the list is Onagadin. Onagadin is around month 10, so he's almost at that 12-month term is what they tell you, 12 to 15 months to expect to see full results. A very, very cool dude. He's one of the people that really gave me that confidence, because I was able to see, basically from a hair texture standpoint, his hair is much curlier than mine, but I felt like there were some similarities from what he was able to accomplish through his transplant which gave me that confidence in that. I've also had a conversation with him, a very cool dude, super laid back, very easy to talk to, super genuine. Check him out. He also has great information on his channel as well. The next person is Gambo the Grape. I believe he is around month 9. Around the time I started doing my research, he's pretty early in his processing. He had really just got it done. So, you know, I was looking at this stuff in February 2021. All these guys seem really cool, like they're cool people, down to earth, and they're just giving you the information out there for you to receive it if you want it. The next person, Big Hud 83. I believe he's also around that 8 to 9 month mark, sharing his results. Again, he's gonna be linked down below. Simp to Suave. I believe he is probably around 10 months or so. His last update was about 4 months ago, and he was around, I think, month 6. This dude has, I would imagine, is probably going to or already has some of the best results out there. At month 3, dude had like an afro. You know, and that comes down to just the difference in people, genetics and things like that. Everyone doesn't really grow at the same rate. Watching his videos can definitely kind of have you feeling some kind of way once you get a transplant, because you're looking at him like, damn, mine ain't growing like that. But that's just the way things work sometimes. Again, he's not really active right now, but the videos that are on his channel, I think can be really helpful for some people out there. The next person is Riley. I think he had pretty much got his right on the time I was going to get mine, but I hadn't gone yet, so he was really new, but the information that he was putting out was really good. And I believe he's around month 7 or so. His last update was a couple months ago at the time of me filming this video. The next person is gonna be Rich Adams, around month 10. Great information. All of these guys got great information, so I'm not really gonna keep going into too much detail about what they're posting. They're linked down below, so of course feel free to check them out for yourself. The next person is Albie Baby. I believe he's around month 11 or so. Check him out, he's linked down below. Alan Olash. I believe he is at this point over a year. His last update was a couple months ago. I believe he is like Italian or something, or some kind of Caucasian ethnicity. Most of the people on this list are gonna be African American or have some kind of Afro descent hair type. Alan Olash does not, and there's one other guy, when I get to him, I'll mention to him. Any people with straighter hair, if you're looking to find somebody who has similar hair texture as you can check out Alan Olash for his results and his updates after receiving his transplant. The rest of these people are gonna be over a year, so they've pretty much finished their term essentially, or they're in that 12 to 15 month term. They may not be posting consistently anymore, but you can always go back and find the videos that they put out. You can watch their progress and watch their updates, so you can get the information for yourself. But this is Young Grasshopper. I believe he's had 2 hair transplants as well. I think his first one wasn't FUT and this one wasn't FUE, if I'm not mistaken. Also, going back, Rich Adams also has, I think, 2 hair transplants, if I'm not mistaken. But Young Grasshopper, he seemed like he has extremely straight / curly hair. Anybody with hair texture like that, feel free to check him out. He's had really good results as well. The next person is Zay's Hair Journey. He is, I believe, over that year mark, around 15 months. He's made a lot of great videos early on, especially after the procedure up until like month 7, month 8 or somewhere around there. A lot of great information that he put out, so of course go check him out. The next person is Galliano. Hopefully I said that right. I really liked watching his videos. They weren't something that came super consistently, but when he would post like 2, 3, 4 videos at a time, and it was always very helpful. He seems to have this very like laid back persona, very chill. It's a vibe just watching him and just talking about it. It's all positive, it's refreshing. Slim Fitness PT, also over a year. His last update was around 8.5 months. Around that time, he really had great results. Mac Hair 11. Now this is the other Caucasian individual that went to Ashley Tarshan that's been sharing their results. I believe he is over a year now, but his last update was around month 7. But again, the videos are still there, so you can actually see what his progress and his updates were leading up to the time that he actually stopped posting. Then we have Flip. Flip, I believe, is over a year. Now he's actually commented on a couple of videos of mine, so I'll believe he's subscribed to the channel, but he's also over a year and he's also had good results. He has a lot of videos on this channel as well, so feel free to check him out. Then we have K Matthews. K Matthews is over a year. His last update was around 8 months or so. And then we have the one who's probably inspired the majority of people out there to go to the same exact clinic, and that is Denzel. Now, Denzel is, I believe, a couple years out. Homie went from not having much at top to getting braids. He got braided up, grew a fro. You can even search Ashley Tarshan Clinic Denzel because he's talked about so much in the community due to the results that he was able to get. He's one of those front runners for results, right? Because everybody talks about results. So somehow I accidentally skipped a name on my list. Wayne's World. On my list, I had everybody pretty much line by line. And when I was going through it during the time of filming, somehow I accidentally skipped his name. Wayne's World, if you happen to see this, my bad, man. I put you on my list and somehow skipped you. And while I was editing this video, I realized it and I wanted to make sure I did not leave you out. So I wanted to make sure I gave you your credit as well. Wayne's World has a video where he shows the consultation, what I thought was extremely helpful. I thought it was super dope. And it does show you an aspect of how they try to convince you of what you should do, regardless of what you want to do or what you think is best for you. And I wanted to capture my version of that, but of course I wasn't really able to. But it's a really great video. Make sure you check it out on his channel. I believe he is around 9 to 10 months. So far, he's seeing pretty good results and he has more time to go. But Wayne's World, thank you so much for your videos. Again, sorry for missing you. Wanted to make sure I gave you your credit as well. I just wanted to take the time to really just share light and give back to those individuals, and that was 20 people that I just mentioned. Now, all 20 people were people that I actually watched. They may not know I was watching, but I was watching. They may not know that they helped me, but they did. So if you guys see this video, I just want to say thank you for the information, really, that helped people even when you don't realize that you are. I know there's people that tell me that I'm helping them when I don't realize it, and it's always humbling and it's also very heartwarming to know that you're making an effect. These things really do help people, and they were instrumental in the decision that I made because I was able to see that people did it and people were actually getting good results out of it. Those guys were very helpful. Again, all of them are linked down below. Again, I just want to say thank you to every last one of you guys, all 20 of you. Thank you so much. There are also other guys that have since gone to the Ashley Tarshan clinic and now sharing their journey. And I didn't want to really leave them out, but they weren't guys that I was watching before going. I think there's like at least 3 or 4 that I came across. So feel free to check those guys out as well. You know what? I'm just gonna also drop them down below in the description section just to give them some light as well. Those are the guys that I watched. I came across them all at different times, but whenever they posted updates, I tuned in. I tuned in because I wanted to see what it was like. I wanted to see what they were getting out of going there. In the video where I kind of detailed the overall experience, I talked about making a decision to contact the clinic in February. It was at the end of February. Up until contacting them, I started watching a lot of these guys. And I was originally supposed to go to Turkey on April 1st. As some of you know, those plans didn't really work out too well. So I ended up going in June. From February all the way to June, which is February, March, April, May, June. So those 4 months, I watched these guys. Anytime they dropped something, I was watching it, just to make sure that I was gonna be making the best decision for myself. To move forward from that, I think it really comes down, at least for my decision, it came down to what I wanted to accomplish. As you guys know, I ended up getting 3,000 grafts. To this day, even though I'm having good results so far to month 5, and I'm a little past 5 months now, to this day, I still don't feel like I needed 3,000 grafts. Am I mad at the 3,000 grafts? Not necessarily, but I feel like I still could have gotten good results without 3,000. I think 2,500 would have been good enough, but that's just a personal opinion. One of the questions when it kind of comes to why did I choose Turkey, why didn't I stay here in the States? A lot of it comes down to price. The price to do a hair transplant in the States can be very expensive. And when we're talking about me wanting, between 2,000 and 2,500 grafts, depending on where you go, there's a price per graft. With Bosley, I think I was looking somewhere around $5.50 per graft or something like that. Let's just say if I did 2,500 grafts at Bosley, so that's times 550, I'm looking at, almost $14,000. Is that feasible? Is it doable? Do I have $14,000 just laying around? No, I honestly don't. I know I have good credit and I know I have some money I can put down on it. I could have easily took the 4,000 that I went to Turkey with, where I ended up getting dental work and a hair transplant. I could have easily took the 4,000 and put that down. I could have easily took 5,000 to put it down and then finance the rest. That was very feasible and doable for me. But once I was able to see what else was able to be accomplished, I thought about what was necessary. Would it be necessary for me to put this much money down to go get the hair transplant? The other part of that is that it's a good thing, and sometimes it can be a little bit annoying with some of the hair transplant clinics in the States. And this is where it can get a little iffy even with clinics in Turkey. In most cases, clinics in the States, they're going to have more of a approach of caution. They're never really gonna go with the maximum amount of grafts. They're gonna proceed with caution because they're thinking more of the long term. For me, that's why Bosley recommended 17, because they wanted to make sure that they were also going to leave something for me. And I also forgot to mention, Bosley wanted to do another FUT. They didn't recommend for me to do an FUE. I didn't want a thicker scar than I already have. So that was another part of my decision. What I also knew from getting my transplant at Bosley, for me to lower my hairline, I knew I wanted the hairline to be structured in a way that I would be happy with. Bosley did tell me that, hey, you can draw your own hairline. You can tell us exactly how you want it. So they were okay with me doing that. But at the same time, even after my first transplant, their approach to doing the hairline, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. You know, sometimes it feels like they don't really do African American hair as often, even though they did an amazing job. That was just the vibe that I got. So I knew by me wanting to lower my hairline, I wanted to go somewhere where I felt like I was seeing good results with hairlines. And through all the guys that I just mentioned, for the majority of them, I saw great results with hairline. Heck, really almost all of them, I saw great results with the hairline. And the hairline being the main thing I wanted to do, it made that decision a little bit easier. And of course, the price being a big part of it. A lot of these guys went there last year, or early part of this year, where the clinic's price was $1,700. Around the time when I reached out, it was $2,200. Now I believe it's $25. And from what I understand, they're gonna be upping their prices again next year. Even with me buying the ticket, even with all the other expenses, I still paid way, way, way less than I would have had I done it here in the States. There are other clinics in Turkey. You know, Ashley Tarshan isn't the only clinic to go to. There's Hair of Istanbul, from what I understand, Dr. Sinek or something like that. And there's some other places that, you know, I didn't really research too much into. Honestly, the choices for me were between Ashley Tarshan and Hair of Istanbul. I do believe that Hair Istanbul, between the two, may be the better of the two. And I say that because I don't think they have the reputation that Ashley Tarshan has of over-harvesting. However, when I did the research, there weren't too many people on YouTube sharing their results as Ashley Tarshan had. And I was able to see exactly what was going on. I was able to see some what I did like, and I was able to see some of what I didn't like. What did I not like about Ashley Tarshan? Well, I didn't like the whole over-harvesting thing that they have the reputation for. I knew somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500. However, I knew 3,000 was gonna be my max. I really thought very, very long and hard about this because I did not want to be over-harvested. And I did feel that with 3,000 being my absolute max, 3,000 wouldn't over-harvest me. I think the jury's still out on that one. I'm only 5 months in. The donor area is getting better. Although I feel like it could have been better than where it's at, you know, only time will tell. The other thing I really didn't like too much about the Ashley Tarshan hair clinic, when they're doing, you know, the side of the hairline, the temples, I feel like they don't, especially for guys who have recession down the side, I feel like they don't really go far back enough to make sure there's a nice blend there. So sometimes you can see where guys have the new growth, and you can see the difference between that native hair and that transplant hair, and there's like a void there because they didn't properly make sure they would blend in well. I've noticed that. So for me, knowing that my temples were strong, I knew that wouldn't need to be touched. If that had needed to be touched, I probably wouldn't have chose that clinic. And that's just me being honest with you guys. I really analyzed what I needed versus what I didn't need it. I analyzed what I wanted versus what I didn't want it. And for the things that I wanted, the clinic seemed to check all the boxes for me. I think it's very important for people to really look at what they want versus what they don't want. I would look at the back of my head before going to Turkey and just looking at the density at the back of my head. I would really analyze and just think, do I have the hair density in the back of my donor area to handle 25 to 3,000 grafts? And I felt like I did. But I will tell you though, I don't really feel like I would have been able to handle 3,500, 4,000. I really do feel like if I was going to get that many grafts, I probably would have been over-harvested. So when I got there, and Fred, the guy who I did not rock with all like that, he wanted to do 6,000. I would have been over-harvested. I strongly believe I would have been over-harvested. I say that to say this, really look at where you're at. If you're wanting to get a hair transplant, analyze yourself. Watch a lot of these guys I mentioned, watch some of the other guys who I didn't necessarily mention, but you know, are now making these videos. All of these guys are linked down below. And there's also so many other people that haven't gone to Turkey that have gotten hair transplants. Back when I first got my first one in 2015, most guys weren't really talking about this, but there is a huge community of guys right now sharing this information. And I think it's important to look at how many grafts they got, what you think their hair quality is, their hair density, pre-transplant and post-transplant. Really analyze where you're at, where you think you're at, and what you're gonna need. Chances are, if you're a Norwood 7, you're probably gonna need upwards of 6,000, 7,000 grafts to give you full density. And you're only really gonna be able to get that with multiple transplants. If you need that many grafts, honestly, I would not suggest doing an FUE first. I would do an FUT. And I know people don't wanna hear that, but that's gonna allow for you to move the most amount of grafts and still leave a lot of surface area for an FUE down the line. That's just the hard truth. Even though I didn't want the scar at the back, the FUT was really the best choice for me because now I was able to move 3,000 grafts, I think safely, hopefully, you know, again, time will tell. And once I fully heal up, I would have gotten 4,500 grafts transplanted and not be able to tell, especially with the first one being an FUT. Every person is going to be different. Hair of Istanbul is probably the better of the two, but Hair of Istanbul, from what I understand, their prices have skyrocketed. One of the reasons I feel as though that may be the case, it's been reported that that's where Floyd Mayweather got his hair transplant at. I don't know if it's been proven, it's been speculated, but that's what people are saying, and I can see it. So if Floyd was somebody who went to Turkey to got a hair transplant, and they're one of the leading countries of hair transplant performance, then I don't think it was that bad of an idea. But hopefully that answers the question of why I decided to go there. To basically recap, analyze what I needed, what I didn't need. The clinic checked the boxes for me. Price was also a part of it. I looked at the price, and aside from there, I didn't really mention this too much, and I still got the video coming, but the dental work I got done. Although I wasn't the happiest with it, it was still extremely affordable. So I paid $4,500 altogether for a hair transplant and some dental work. If I did that here in the States, I would have paid, let's see, about $14,000 for the hair transplant. The dental work probably would have been about another like $10,000 or so. So I'd have been looking at maybe like $20,000 to $30,000 to achieve the things I went to Turkey and did for $4,500. Those were the things that were a part of it. Now I did make a playlist of all of these videos. I think it's called Hair Restoration. So if you want to get caught up on a lot of these other videos, feel free to check out those videos in the playlist. I do have a few more topics that I want to talk about when it comes to the hair restoration and my hair transplant. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Some of the questions you may find in those other videos, so check those out first. And if you didn't get your question, you can drop it down below and I'll do my best to answer it for you. That does it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.